started. I am joined by Brendan Sohan from JMT and Maria Caputo, as well as Chris Goheen from Workforce Go. Brendan, take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the JMT Consulting and Workforce Go webinar, Managing the Story of Your People. I am broadcasting live out of JMT's Paterson, New York headquarters. We have Samuel Murphy out of JMT's Austin, Texas office. We got Chris Goheen from Workforce Go. I believe you're out of the Dallas area.
Sure.
And we got a couple other folks joining us from Workforce Go on the webinar for backup today, situated throughout the country. I'm really excited about this webinar as Brendan Sohan, here at JMT, I manage exclusively our MIP clients. And so what's happened kind of over the last 7 years of me being here at JMT is that I've seen this strong emerging market happening, and that's the whole payroll, HR, HRMS, or whatever other acronym you want to use to describe it. It's been one of the fastest growing and fastest emerging industries and markets, especially when you talk about cloud-based applications for business. And so for the longest time, as many of you MIP users know, if you're interested in doing something like in-house payroll or HR, you have a couple different options. But one of them is the MIP solution, which is a little bit rigid and not that functionally rich. And your other options tend to be something like ADP or Paychex. But now, about a couple months ago, we signed the deal with the nice folks over at Workforce Go. We have partnered with Workforce Go, and we are able to offer a solution that is completely cloud-based, completely modular. It handles all aspects of HR, payroll, onboarding. I'm not going to steal any of Chris Goheen's thunder here throughout the remainder of the hour for the webinar, but I like to say it's from recruiting all the way to retirement and everything in between. And like I said, this doesn't just work with Abila MIP. This doesn't just work with Intact Cloud Financials, though it fits very nicely with Intact. It's its own standalone solution, which is really great because you are not necessarily tied to one ERP or another. And so they're offering some really, really functionally rich aspects of their system, really flexible and really scalable for your organization. Without any further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Chris Goheen at Workforce Go to tell you all about what they have in store for you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Brendan. I really appreciate that and the introduction to Workforce Go and the team members on the line. And thank you, everyone, for attending this afternoon and taking the time to allow us to present. Just as a reminder regarding upcoming webinars and events, you can visit jmtconsulting.com on their events page to see more of these that are going to be offered in the future, as well as other events and activities going on, which are very informative and a way to interact with the team members directly. Just as a formal introduction of myself, again, my name is Chris Goheen. I am actually with the Workforce Go organization. I am actually the president with Workforce Go. Been working in the industry of what is now called human capital management, previously known as payroll, HR, HRMS, all those nice terms that Brendan threw around a moment ago, for a little over 16 years in many different facets and roles and engagements with different types of organizations, serving things from sales, implementation, consulting, training, and just overall employee management and how organizations take approaches and achieving their goals, strategies that they have in mind. So very excited to be able to present today and share some things that we've learned within this industry and what organizations are going through today and what's truly impacting them. So really, to jump into that, we're going to focus on three key topics today as we spend the majority of our time together. We're going to start with talking about key trends in human capital management. What are we seeing within the industry? What is impacting organization, and very commonly what all organizations are seeing? And then we're going to talk about how engaged is your workforce? How engaged are your employees? What are their expectations and what are your expectations? And then finally, we'll talk about managing the story of your people, what we should be looking for in solutions and how solutions help manage that story or close those gaps and meet those trends that we're seeing out there. So again, a lot of information that we want to share today and what we're seeing. And I think what a lot of you will see is what is very familiar to you within your organization itself. So just starting a little bit before, why this is so important for us and why we like to share this type of information out there. At Workforce Go, we believe great businesses, apologize for that, let me fix that screen here real quick. Workforce Go, we believe great businesses are powered by great people themselves. So in order to be a great business, you need to create and manage what we call an engaged workforce. So when we talk about human capital management and we talk about workforce solutions, organizations need to look at purpose-built, industry-specific solutions that manage not only their organization, but all employees that they engage with, whether those are hourly individuals, salaried individuals, contractors, interns, any type of individuals or people that we're working with out there. So we need to look at solutions that are purpose-built for us and how we want to engage with our workforce, and not solutions that just mold us into their specific environments. So in talking a little bit about why that's so important, we want to look at some of the trends that are going on in human capital management. Organizations today are facing a major disruptions in their business and in their workforce. Every business in every industry is being disrupted. The workforce is also undergoing radical changes, which are causing the need to manage more generations than ever before, from millennials all the way to baby boomers in every region of the world, and increasing workers' expectations of the organization itself. So this is driving a lot of trends within the industry around market pressures, massive business disruptions, changing workforce demographics that organizations have to deal with, the workers' impact on the company branding itself with social media and word of mouth, the workers' expectations of what a company is delivering to them, and of course, the availability of talent that is required to succeed as an organization. This is all driving into some very key business issues that organizations are facing. Again, having to manage that changing workforce dynamics, the baby boomers that have been in the industry and the millennials that are entering the industry or have begun within the industries. Being able to develop leaders with the outgoing exit of certain leaders and growing individuals internally while still creating that culture and engagement that individuals expect. Looking at new organizational models or how we structure ourselves and create very productive environments through our employees, ultimately driving that productivity itself. So this is causing situations for organizations to have a trend around impact business capabilities, really looking at things that we call around people analytics or people science, and being able to describe and predict factors on how they engage their employees and optimize their organizational model and culture, creating that very productive environment. So this is causing organizations to look into how they attract certain individuals, and more importantly, how they retain those individuals as well, or create those environments where they want to stay within that culture. How they develop them, how they create more productivity out of those individuals as they retain them and create those learning models, and more importantly, engagement of those individuals as well. Again, looking at those organizational designs and how we leverage those people within our organization to ultimately drive that productivity that we're looking for. So these are the top of mind trends in a very disruptive environment for organizations today, looking across how they manage their workforce and, more importantly, the multiple generations that they're working with. So a couple key drivers behind that multi-generational workforce. So you heard me mention baby boomers all the way to millennials. Within the workforce today, there are actually 5 generations working side by side, and each one of those generations has a different expectation of level of engagement or productivity that they can produce. So this is causing organizations to look at that culture and engagement and how it's tied to their bottom line. It's also causing organizations to look at how they're preparing for an aging workforce, the exit of baby boomers and other types of generations, and the entry of those millennials and leveraging that talent appropriately. So this ultimately causes the investment in learning and training of employees across all demographics so we can transfer knowledge and grow knowledge for newer individuals. When we look at those multiple generations, some very good insight here is to look at the top 5 very important aspects of job satisfaction across those multiple generations. One of the unique things that you'll see here is one of those very first or top very most important aspects of job satisfaction is actually the same across multiple generations, and it's that respectful treatment of all employees at all levels. So individuals, as what they look for within an organization, how we attract individuals is truly showing them that culture where they are going to be brought in and respected and have engagement from all different levels. Now, however, looking across those multiple generations, you will see that it starts to diverge or differentiate itself as we start looking at the second, third, and fourth top satisfaction factors within there. So for millennials, that second factor is they're looking at that compensation and pay. What is that overall pay and compensation organizations are going to provide? Not so much from the benefits side and what's happening there, which was important for previous generations. Even taking that out of the picture, you'll look down to our older generations of the baby boomers, that workforce that is kind of in its legacy state now, wanting to have that trust between employees and senior management, know that they are able to perform their job and the organization trusts what they're doing and not micromanaging there. Now that moves right again, you'll see kind of a transition there when we move into the third most important aspect. That trust is actually third most important for those millennials today and the Generation X previous to that, where more so those baby boomers were looking for the opportunity to use their skills and be compensated for those skills associated with that. And this continues along down into those fourth and fifth ones where we can see those trends around benefits and job security and overall just feeling safe within the work environment and knowing that they're working for a stable organization within the industry within there. So we can see kind of the shifts and what's important to individuals and what we as an organization need to keep in mind of how we engage with these individuals and more importantly, what we look to attract new individuals into our organization. So when we talk about those hiring and retention key drivers within there, what we need to consider is that changing workforce demographics are creating skills gaps and putting added pressure on you, the employers, to source that top talent, meaning we have to keep in mind what's very important to them and looking for those skills and what it's going to take to grow that talent. Some good statistics into that. An average tenure for a baby boomer with a single organization was previously about 10.4 years. Whereas when we look at the newer generation, those in the workforce from 23 to 34 years of age, they're staying with organizations about an average of 3 years today because they're looking for those opportunities, they're looking for that culture, they're looking for that engagement and ability to develop and grow. This, of course, ultimately creates what we call the brain drain for organizations as well, being able to transfer that knowledge and skills into the emerging workforce and the challenges of generating or developing that next generation of leaders out there. How do we transfer those skills and gaps from the baby boomers and the previous generations into the newer millennial generations that are in the workforce? Again, keeping in mind when we're looking at attracting that talent out there, things that are very important to them. 84% of millennials believe that making a positive difference in the world is more important to them than actual professional recognition within an organization. So again, they look for those cultures and what an organization is giving back, not so much of being personally recognized there. On top of these trends and managing all those multiple generations of individuals that we're working with, there's a level of complexity that still remains within the human capital management industry. And that's just all of the compliance that we have to deal with. Everything associated with the federal laws and ruling, Department of Labor, all the leave administration, Affordable Care Act, which is still around today, and then specific state and local rules and types of compliance that we have to deal with as well. So when we talk about those trends and what we need to have top in mind as an organization, compliance and the ability to easily manage that always needs to remain top of mind. And if we're ever looking for what's coming down the line from a compliance perspective, as a trend setter, setting the stage for change and how we engage with our workforce or how we manage our workforce, we can always look to the state of California, or even now Oregon is actually up there with them as being part of those trend setters as well. So when we see a lot of those new labor laws and rules and how we engage with workforce, these are some of the trend-setting states within the United States that set those, and where we can see the beginning of what's coming down the line. In summary of all that, what's top of mind for those HR leaders, or what we need to be concerned about when we're looking at our workforce and how we properly engage or empower those? We need to look at that employee engagement and employee experience and how we mold those two together. Because in organizations, or employees themselves within organizations, are not just looking for the tools and resources available to them, but the culture and environment we create for them as well. We have to recognize that people are becoming a competitive differentiator. Human resources needs to become more strategic within an organization, needs to have a seat at the table with the discussions around the strategic direction of an organization itself. As leaders, we need to look at how we leverage and exploit emerging technologies to address the ever-evolving workforce need. We talked about those trends with the 5 generations we're working with today, but those trends are going to continue to shift and evolve as we move into additional generations moving forward. And we always need to have a focus on how we attract and, more importantly, retain our key talent, understanding what's important for them and how we empower them through that technology, solutions, and tools. So when we look at our workforce, we have to ask ourselves our question: how engaged is our workforce today? How empowered are they? How much of a culture are we creating for them? Managing your story all starts with those engaged employees. To be a great business, you need to create and manage an engaged workforce. But there are a lot of things you need to manage to create that engaged workforce. Things that you do every day, like performance management, benefits administration, compensation management, skills and training for individuals, and even scheduling, for as an example of those different types of activities that we work with. All while giving employees themselves the tools to access their information, manage their own preferences and personal information, and easily able to do things like enroll in benefits. It's important for an organization to get these things right, to keep your employees engaged and drive feedback from them, like things you're seeing in front of you here. An employee's ability to say, now I can access all my information in one place. Open enrollment was almost too easy this time around. Being able to say employee referrals or asking individuals to come work with me at an organization are way up. And then the organization sleeps much better at night knowing that their data is secure and accessible to them. It's truly hard to drive this type of engagement with very disjointed processes and data when we look at solutions or technology that we're using. So looking at that disjointed, you have the lack of information you need when it's disjointed to make very good business decisions or have true visibility into what is actually happening with your workforce. Your processes are both time-consuming and error-prone in this type of environment. Looking at things such as double entry of data, multiple employee records being managed, a lack of true integrated data, resulting in oftentimes being very cobbled together for reporting and manually using information from different systems or different environments that you have to pull together. It's important for employees' information to seamlessly flow from the time that they actually apply for an open position with your company through the hiring and even the onboarding process itself, all while having real-time data for your critical reports and information to make very informed decisions or see that engagement that you have with those individuals. When we talk about workforce solutions themselves and what we should be looking for in workforce solutions, again, those types of solutions should be purpose-built. They should be purpose-built for your industry and your organization, not holding any type of employee out of the picture. With the challenge that organizations are facing today of attracting and retaining very quality talent, human resource professionals need an integrated set of tools for managing and nurturing that organization's most valuable advantage. All the way look through that entire life cycle of pre-hire all the way to retire. Now, while you may see in most human capital management systems today that they have pieced together HR, payroll, talent, and workforce management components to create an illusion, of one solution, organizations truly need a common platform for end-to-end human capital management with things like recruiting, onboarding, that core HR administration, the training and development aspects, benefits, performance management, even looking at other areas of compensation management, succession planning, and of course, other important items like time and attendance, scheduling, those labor activities, absence management, payroll, and labor analytics. Solutions that are purpose-built and present this single platform embrace the entire workforce themselves. So salary or hourly employees, no individual is ever left behind, delivering that end-to-end employee lifecycle management through that purpose-built solution. Solutions that we look at need to be built on a secure and unified platform. Leading human capital management solutions are natively developed on a single platform themselves. Commonly, human capital management offerings are frequently cobbled together, again, those very disparate or separate systems, through a combination of legacy code, acquisitions that are performed, or partnerships that thinly veil a single user interface. The result of this is a high risk of integration breakdown and a user experience that actually changes as they move to different areas of the solution. So recruiting looks different than employee and manager self-service. Training and development looks different than their normal environment. Performance management, payroll, they all have a different experience associated with them. With leading human capital management platforms and solutions, you get a single employee record from which all applications in the product suite pull all your information together. Rather than entering data multiple times across different applications, you enter an employee's data once, and the system automatically populates all the applications in the suite, reducing that data entry errors and ensuring that all your information is up to date across the entire platform. The single employee record reduces your employee complexities. By using a common reporting engine across the entire suite, you draw from a single source of truth instead of having to try to combine multiple sources of employee information. All of your data is updated real time, so it makes your decisions based on accurate information versus legacy latent data that can easily lead to wrong conclusions of your information. A single platform means a single user interface across the entire suite, which helps minimize user training and boost the efficiency of your employees themselves. Even security profiles can be customized by users with a variety of levels of data access and privileges based on permissions that you specify and that are applied once across the board to everyone. Finally, with those solutions, we want to help you drive better business outcomes for your organization as well. With a complete human capital management solution to address your entire workforce from pre-hire to retire, all on a single platform, you have the tools and information you need to make better decisions that ultimately deliver better outcomes for your company. You can attract and retain top talent, effectively manage and engage those individuals throughout the entire employee life cycle, while at the same time still controlling your cost as an organization. Also, when we look at those human capital management solutions and we talk about that purpose built, there's very key things that we need to look for, which may or may not be important for us as an organization, but that can truly be presented on a single unified platform. Those purpose-built HCM solutions help address the key solutions required of your organization. So we talk about things like HR management, where we look at that hiring and applicant tracking. How do we integrate from those public job boards, our career page, social media recruiting? How do we guide individuals or present the experience to those candidates themselves? How do we track and report on that information? And even move into that onboarding, again, keeping in mind that experience that we're providing. Are these paperless environments, automated checklists? How accessible is it? How much time is it taking, and how user-friendly or experience is it for the individual? We also want to look at things as those benefit management, administration of our plans, being able to offer open enrollment process, even connecting with our carrier providers. And finally, looking at that true talent management around training and performance management within there, and providing those self-service environments or empowering individuals within the information and activities themselves. We want to look within solutions around time and labor management as well. In many different organizations today, employees need multiple data collection and self-service options to truly be efficient. Whether we're managing time and labor information via just web, whether we're looking at mobile devices to engage with them, or even still those physical time clock hardware devices. We need to have that flexibility to truly engage with how is most efficient for our workforce. Solutions that provide this type of flexibility around timekeeping and accruals will help you with real-time calculations that maintain your compliance and payroll accuracy and manage exceptions in a timely and effective manner, providing you that real-time reporting. So being able to have that true flexibility around how we want to engage with our workforce from these. Again, that time and attendance, basic scheduling type of options, those pay rules and different types of calculations, different types of data collection, and managing those benefits around accruals with your paid time off, your holiday schedules, your vacation schedules. In some cases with organizations, we may also want to move into more of an advanced scheduling basis and engagement with our individuals. Rather than just standard 8 to 5 type schedules, we may have more of an on-demand type schedule basis. So based on demands of workloads, based on skills that employees have, budgeting things around hours or certain labor dollars, creating a basis of scheduling around those certifications, different union rules or labor laws, and managing different shifts throughout the day. Even being and empowering individuals themselves to engage with their schedules, being able to switch departments and jobs and cost centers, being able to add and drop shifts or swap shifts with other individuals. Again, providing that level of experience and that efficiency that individuals require out there. Leave management is very important for organizations because there's a lot of compliance impacts around this. So when we talk about those solutions and being purpose-built, not only for our industry and our workforce, but keeping us, again, in compliance with all those changing laws out there. So tracking employees and their legal entitlements around leave management can be difficult for a lot of organizations. Recently, the Society for Human Resource, SHRM, came out with a statistic in December of a survey that they provided. specifically in the US, for organizations that rate the level of complexity, leave management or leaves for organizations can actually be unplanned, adding workload within the organization. 69% of organizations said that, again, it adds that additional workload. 61% of organizations surveyed actually said that it increases stress within their workforce, having this leave and unplanned absences out there. 59% actually said it's a disruptive work for others out there, so it disrupts their daily culture and environment. And 48% of them actually said it hurts employee morale. So employees may sometimes be required to take extended times away from work for a variety of reasons, including illness, injury, disability, bereavement, military duty or jury duty, even maternity or paternity leave, child or elderly care, and then sometimes just some labor disputes. But monitoring all of this and ensuring the compliance around this takes a lot of time of the HR administrator themselves. HR managers can actually spend up to 1.9 hours per week on absence-associated tasks alone. If we have things like line managers or those types of roles and responsibilities, they can spend upwards of 1.7 hours on top of that per week managing different types of absence tasks and activities. Organizations themselves, when we look at that as a whole, actually estimate the loss in productivity due to unplanned absences around 11% annually. So as you can see around leave management and why this is so important, trying to manage compliance with federal tax laws like Family Medical Leave Act or state mandated leave laws in places like California and Oregon, it's extremely difficult and time consuming. So we need that technology, that engagement, that experience to help with that. So those purpose-built HCM solutions should present that leave management, automatically tracking all your leave policies with employee self-service abilities to request leave, approval workflows, which include their eligibility qualifiers, to ensure that the employee is eligible for the leave time and has gotten all the appropriate approvals and eligibility notifications. We also look from a compliance aspect around Affordable Care Act management as well. This is still very prevalent. It is still here today and an obligation of employers that meet those thresholds and criterias. So we need to look at those closed loop process administration capabilities out there, that real-time status visibility and monitoring of all of our information, the ability to receive notifications and compliance alerts around things like benefit eligibility, and automate and streamline that benefits enrollment. When they become eligible, truly just guiding them to your open enrollment process and what those different offerings are. And very importantly, all of that IRS reporting and year-end processing around your 1094 and your 1095s, being able to produce those timely and upon the different requirements. Payroll management and administration is very important within human capital management and probably one of the biggest tasks that an organization has performed. So to maintain that highest level of quality around payroll, solutions need to be updating their payroll solutions almost on a monthly basis as it stands today. Organizations will be less vulnerable to impact of regulatory changes that could otherwise render their solutions obsolete or out of compliance by keeping updated on this regular basis, accommodating all those tax changes and payroll laws. When looking at payroll solutions within human capital management, we look for those solutions that provide those gross to net calculations that are a breeze and very easy to do with a very versatile payroll engine. Some built-in tax filing data that supports your different regions and tax structures. All of your tax tables kept up to date and very frequently out there. The ability to manage all your direct deposits so employees can easily submit their requests, their updated information, and payroll administrators can manage that as part of their payroll process. And more importantly, being able to process all types of payment and money movement, whether that is direct deposit, payroll pay cards, or still live checks that we're issuing. And finally, we get to those other processes that happen not as frequently, but are still very importantly, which is that year-end processing, being able to close out your years, produce accurate W-2s and filing information, and even being able to integrate with your general ledger itself. So from a financial aspect, we have a very seamless process to our accounting and financial solutions. So again, when we talk about human capital management, we want to talk about a purpose-built solution, a full suite of human capital management cloud solutions that deliver end-to-end employee lifecycle management for the entire workforce. With your workforce can be a mix of hourly, salary, multi-generational, geographically dispersed, multicultural, or even mobile individuals. Human capital management solutions need to be a comprehensive tool set of integrated HR, time and attendance, payroll, scheduling, and more for managing and nurturing your organization's most important and valuable asset, all the way from pre-hire to retired, giving your managers single source access to real-time employee data for driving your productivity, increasing your employee engagement, and making more informed business decisions for your organization. Lastly, when we talk about human capital management, again, we want to look at those solutions that handle the complexities that organizations run into. And you can really silo those complexities into 3 different pillars within the organization. The first pillar being that human resource management, what we look at from an administrative perspective within the organization. So we look at that core HR management, the ability to do the benefits administration, managing our benefit plans itself, and all the upcoming strategies and changes that we have. That recruitment and talent acquisition, understanding what the expectations of individuals are, and presenting that type of engagement for attracting those talents and presenting a great experience for them. Same thing with the onboarding process of how we guide individuals and what is that experience and user friendliness that we present out there. And of course, managing and retaining those individuals through performance management and compensation management. The second pillar of those complexities being that workforce management, or how we day-to-day interact with our workforce itself. We look at those things around time and attendance management. Again, those different flexibilities around how we gather and engage and create efficiencies for our workforce, whether that's web-based time collection, whether that's mobile device time collection, or even still time clock hardware devices. The ability to schedule and engage and provide preferences and flexibilities for individuals to help with their scheduling. The accruals and benefits that we provide around paid time off, holiday, sick, vacation, and the different plan offerings that we have out there. All the compliance and empowerment that we offer around that leave and absence management, which we talked a lot about, and being able to manage that eligibility and engaging with those individuals. Same type of compliance or management around that Affordable Care Act and management and reporting, monitoring all that individual's information when they become eligible and being very proactive to those environments. And we're even getting into new areas of items called attestation management, or employees verifying that they've taken breaks, and new rules and compliance around that as well. Again, ensuring that you're working with solutions that are going to stay up with that compliance for you and keep you in the know about what's coming down. And finally, within those pillars being that payroll management for organizations, the flexibility that you require around those gross to net calculations, being able to manage your tax filing and payments through services and information being presented to you. Being able to manage your different payment methods that are required, whether that is check printing, distribution and direct deposits, or even payroll pay cards. And of course, those very important activities around your year-end processing and your general ledger type integration. Again, keeping in mind that we want that single platform, that single user experience with the solution out there, not disparate solutions in the background. One user interface, one database, one single employee record with our required workflow and reporting, those employee and manager self-service environments with true empowerment of those individuals, and those mobile capabilities to be on the go as we need with all the security around that. So I do want to thank you for the time and allowing me to go through that information. More than happy to open it up for any questions about anything we talked about the trends going on within the industry today, what organizations need to be looking at within human capital management to help address those trends out there, or any just other general specifics that you may have. And I am checking the chat boxes as well, see if we have anything within there.
I see a question here. This is Brendan. If I'm deciphering this question correctly, do you have to get all of the pieces in order to get payroll, or can they just use timesheets? Or
yeah,
I think what they're trying to ask is it modular? Is it all encompassing? How does that work?
Yeah, so when we look at HCM solutions, we definitely want to look at the modular approach to that. So solutions are going to be modular. They do present the full suite on one unified platform, but we don't want to be required to do an all or nothing type situation. So the solutions such as Workforce Go are modular to where we can do payroll only, time and labor management only, HR only, or again, look at the entire suite. So truly understanding the requirements of the organization and your industry yourself, what's most important with those strategies and goals you have in mind, and then building the solution around that. Again, not requiring everything, just what meeting your requirements today are.
Awesome. So how long does a typical implementation take? Loaded question.
There are a lot of variables that go into implementation associated with that. So, a lot of that is going to depend on the complexities, the rules and policies that an organization has and configuration and setup of those. And then the solution that is being implemented itself. Is it a full suite? Is it just certain components of that? So all those are going to vary of what goes into a time frame of the number of weeks associated with an implementation. But we've seen implementations take as small as 2 weeks to as long as 12+ weeks.
Well, awesome. Thanks for doing this, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Just while we
awesome solution.
Just while we are waiting for any additional questions, and if we don't get any, we'll close out here in just a moment. Just want to provide everyone that we do have a follow-up webinar to this, actually scheduled for next week on Wednesday, September 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern, where we will actually be walking through the Workforce Go solution itself. So a lot of the things we talked about today, the trends going on in the industry, how to engage your workforce and the technology to do so, we will actually walk through that technology again on Wednesday, September 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, thank you for everyone for all of your time today. If you do have any follow-up or need additional information, here is some contact information for you, and definitely reach out and let us know. And again, thank you for all of your time.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you, everyone.